Hello everyone, welcome to Hot Cars, and you join me today with the 2021 Audi S6 provided to me today by Glenmore Audi. Many thanks go off to them for lending out this demo model for me to test out for a day. The S6 in its new form is a twin-turbo, electrically supercharged 48-volt mild hybrid V6. It makes 444 horsepower, 443 pound-feet of torque, and I've had a lot of experience talking about the latest Audi products, the MLB Evo platform, which this S6 is based upon, so I'm not going to really focus too much on talking about how this thing is put together and the interior and all that. Please go check out one of my previous reviews to learn more about that. What I'm here to find out is how the S6 drives when you want to push it a little bit enthusiastically, and how that very complicated sounding engine works from behind the wheel. So let's hop in and go straight for a drive. Before I set off, let's briefly talk about the differences in styling with the S6 over a normal A6. And just like all of the other S products, Audi likes to play things safe and keep things rather subtle. There's only one telltale sign that we're in the more powerful A6 sedan, and that is largely the big polished exhaust system. And it's really nice to note that the standard sports exhaust is standard and it has a butterfly valve within, so you'll really notice a difference when you go from comfort to dynamic mode. And even if you were to start up the engine, and I might as well do that right now, in its dynamic mode. It's in dynamic mode, so here we go. There is quite a rumble. Now if I just take this back into comfort mode, from within the cabin I can already tell that there is a difference. That valve has been closed. Other things to briefly mention, well, of course we've got the S6 badging on the grille and on the boot lid. This particular model has the black optics pack, so that really stealths out a lot more, so around the grille, the door trim, all of that kind of a thing. And we also have the dynamics package with this S6, so that brings you the painted red brake calipers, the dynamic steering, and the all-wheel steering system too, along with the sports rear differential. These 20-inch rims aren't particularly, in my mind, good looking. I don't think they really suit the character of this vehicle all that well, but there are other options with 21-inch rims. Doesn't look like you're really going to have many options below 20-inch rims, because look at the size of those brake discs. They're massive. I doubt a 19-inch rim would fit over top of them. Okay, that's brought up. Let's now go into drive and go for a drive. I'll start off in comfort mode just so I can give general driving impressions of this S6. It comes standard with air suspension, the S-tuned air suspension system, and just like all of the Audi air suspension products, you could just set yourself on a straight line, get the radar cruise going, and just drive for hours upon hours upon hours. The only limitation is how much fuel you would have in your tank, really. The ride is incredibly smooth, even for something that's claimed to be S-tuned. The S6, just like the normal A6, has the Quattro Ultra all-wheel drive system, so it's a front-wheel based all-wheel drive system, and when you are doing something like cruising on a highway, as I am right now, it can totally disconnect the power to the rear axle, making it more fuel efficient. When you aren't trying to drive the S6 enthusiastically, it's just as tame and just as calm as all of the other A6 products, but there is a lot more throttle sensitivity, and I feel like I can really modulate the throttle a lot better in this than something that I could in the normal A6, whether it's 3-litre V6. I didn't even mention the size of this engine. It's a 2.9 twin-turbo, electrically supercharged 48-volt mild hybrid V6, and that is quite a complicated matter, but if you are unaware of all of those complications, it would kind of just feel like a normal engine. All of that technology really hides away in the background. When you want to drive fast and you want to really stamp on the throttle, there doesn't really feel like there's any turbo lag at all. And the electric supercharger, you only notice its whine in the last 1,000 RPM or so. Audi claims a 0 to 100 kilometer time in 4.4 seconds, and it does feel faster than that, but it does, to me, feel quite dramaless. If I go into dynamic mode, do sport shifting, and we have an 8-speed automatic in this vehicle, just downshift a little bit. Here we're in second gear, and then I'll pin it. There's a lot of fun noises that come out of the back of this car. Like, listen to all the crackles right now. But I can tell there is a little bit of synthesized noise coming from the stereo. It's not as invasive as what I've experienced in something like a BMW's V8, but that fake induction noise is definitely there. Here's a good opportunity to really give this thing a pull. Pinning it. Yeah, definitely faster than 4.4 seconds. But the way Audi does things is that you can just let go of all of that enthusiasm, put it back into comfort mode, and it all just settles down. The engine disappears. And are you looking for that in something that is a $100,000 super sedan? To me, maybe not. There have been a lot of characteristics lost going into this V6 motor as opposed to the V8. And if it was my personal money, I would rather be in the less complicated, more fuel-efficient engine if the only thing I am doing is just highway cruising. If you plan to rapidly go in between cars and you're doing something like an Autobahn run, then yeah, S6 makes more sense than an A6. But from behind the wheel, I'm just not getting the sense that there's really much to report, really anything special. And even when you are pushing hard, the engine's fun and there's some nice noises, but I don't know, I can't find a real desire to want to push this thing. For the rest of the driving experience, I think it's just as quiet as an A6. Maybe there's a little more road noise as we do have some wider tires, but it's still a fundamentally really good mid-sized German sedan. There's enough space in the second row for anyone under 6 foot. The trunk is huge, and it's got all of the latest Audi technology that works really, really well. Disappointments with the cabin? Well, there's barely any storage space up here. There's almost nothing under this center console, just a place for you to have your wireless phone charger and maybe a space for some sunglasses. I'm surprised that even in this absolute top spec model, there's some scratchy plastics to be found throughout the cabin. This has the upgraded Valcona leather package, so we've got the leather across the dashboard and down here where I would be resting my knees. But still, it is a little surprising that I am finding scratchy plastics like that. An odd trait with the cabin is that we've got this carbon weave, at least I believe it's carbon fiber, but it doesn't have the glossy overlay. So you've got some texture to this weave, which feels nice and actually kind of nice to look at because it has that matte finish. But just wiping your hands down there, and you can see all of the dust that gets caught in between each of these small weaves. I wonder if this is going to be a piece of nightmare maintenance for owners. So that wraps up my thoughts with the S6. I've enjoyed spending this day with it, but there isn't really much for entertainment. I don't feel like I'm particularly thrilled by anything. The engine has some good response, there's some nice noise coming out of the back, but if I'm looking for more of an S-badged vehicle, I would want a little more theatre, and maybe something like the SQ7 and the SQ8 with their 4-litre V8s will be more intriguing. So I personally believe that Audi has lost something in the S6 going to this smaller engine, not in terms of capability, but in terms of soul. So those are all my thoughts towards Audi's S6, very much the super sleeper sedan that Audi likes to do in their very special way, but it isn't particularly interesting, honestly, to be behind the wheel. I enjoy the engine, I like revving it up, and I like hearing all the sounds that it makes, but it isn't particularly thrilling. I don't find that if I was going to be buying in this space and I just wanted a long distance cruiser or really an engaging sedan, I would go for an S6. It's a beautifully made machine and I really have enjoyed spending the day with it. But for what it achieves versus what you might be looking for, those things might not quite align. So if you're looking in this segment and you're looking at this S6, be sure to take it for a test drive. Thank you very much for watching here on Hot Cars. My name's Max Landy. Please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all of those other wonderful things that really help this channel out a lot. Hope to see you again here soon.